Have a great meeting, everyone. We'll catch you on the other side.
Sounds good. In 30 seconds. Well, good evening and welcome to Fort Mitchell City Council. I'm Mayor Jude Heeman. Today is January the 4th, 2021. And we're going to open our meeting up. We're obviously virtual still, and hopefully in the next several meetings or months ahead, we can get out of the virtual as we pray to be moving forward past this pandemic. So in order to move forward and do a roll call, I'm just going to check that everybody has a mic, and we'll use that as a roll call. Ms. Roding?
Here.
Mr. Detheridge?
Here.
Ms. Knockhazel?
Here.
Mr. Polgears?
Present.
Mr. Steckel?
Here.
And Ms. Berger?
Here.
All right. So we're missing Ms. Burns. So she's absent from the meeting. So with that, Council, you received the agenda this evening. Is there any changes to the said agenda?
Nope.
Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Detheridge, second by Mr. Polgears. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Council received the minutes from the December 7th, 2020. Any changes to said minutes?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Polgears?
Second.
Second,
Second.
Mr. Steckel, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. We'll come back to this a couple of times, but Mr. Christofield, is there anybody on Facebook that has a question for citizens and guests?
Nope, not at this time.
Chief Sherberg?
No, nothing sent in advance of the meeting either.
Okay, after the mayor's report, I'll check back and see if there's anything else. So really, we have a lengthy attorney's report. All of these are municipal orders. That means for Allison, since you're the new person, municipal order is only going to require one reading. So we will vote on each one of these tonight versus an ordinance. So Claire, I'll let you take over.
Okay, we have Municipal Order 2021-01. Unfortunately, since it's the first meeting, these are all in sequential order to keep us on track. So this is a municipal order of the City of Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, approving the appointment of a member to the Code Enforcement Board.
Doug Boschert, his term is up and he wishes to continue on the code enforcement. So asking council to keep status quo with Doug.
I agree. Doug does a great job.
Motion, Ms. Knockhazel.
Yep.
Second, Ms. Roding. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Anyone oppose? All right, motion carries. Claire?
Okay, we have Municipal Order 2021-02, and that is an order of the City of Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, approving the appointment of members to the Park Board.
So the members, there are three members that are expiring, and that's Glenn Rice. He's the current president of the Park Board, Jeff Eplin. And the person that we're replacing, let me talk about him first, is Mr. Tom McKinley. Mr. McKinley was on the Park Board from the conception of the park tax and has really spent a lot of time. I'm going to work with Joe to really get a big thank you out. There was over 30 years, I believe, that Mr. McKinley has been spending time on the Park Board. The Park Board also is going to do something special with him due to his health and Zoom meetings and everything else. Mr. McKinley has stepped aside. I'm asking council to approve Amy Wolfeck, who's been active in the community. I think she'll just bring a lot of vibrance back, and including to the Park Board. Yeah. So that's who I'm asking. Reappointments of Mr. Rice, Mr. Eplin, and a new appointment, Mrs. Wolfeck.
I make a motion, we approve it.
Mr. Steckel.
Second.
Second, Ms. Berger. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone oppose? All right, motion carries.
Okay, and on this one, we have Municipal Order 2021-03, and this is an order of the City of Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, approving the appointment of 2 members to the Planning and Development Services Council.
So, Mr. Polgears, I believe ever since I got on as mayor, you've been representing PDS, and I don't know if council realizes how much time Greg puts in. It's a lot of time, a lot of commitment, and it's really helped steer PDS. I'm just there if case. I think I made one meet. I think I've had to go to one meeting in the 6 years. So I really thank you for your service, and hopefully council will approve you to go back on.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion to approve.
Mr. Dethridge?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Reluctantly, no, don't do that.
Oh, because we know how much time he puts into it. He lets us know. I'm just
Ms.
kidding.
Knockhazel, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for the
Anyone?
hesitation there, Kim.
Anyone opposed? Kim, anyone? All right, motion carries.
Okay, we have Municipal Order 2021-04, and this is an order of the City of Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, approving the appointment of a member to the Fort Mitchell Economic Development Authority.
So by law, we're governed to still have a TIF board. I would say that this is my opinion, but based upon the development and different things like that, either the TIF is going to have to change, or they're going to have to meet those building requirements. But as of right now, it's still enforceable that we have it. And although we haven't met, we haven't done anything. But I think hopefully with the next couple months, is that right, Andrew? They said they will have a full plan, and I think we'll have an idea whether the TIF even continue.
I hope to be presenting some updates at the planning session or at the February meeting at the latest.
But as of right now, I'm asking council to go ahead and reappoint Mary and Mr. Dan Rice, brother of Glenn. Dan used to be a member of council.
Motion to approve.
Knockhazel,
I second.
Miss Roding, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries.
Okay, we have Municipal Order 2021-05, and that's an order of the City of Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, approving the appointment of a representative and an alternate to the Board of Directors of the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana Regional Council of Governments.
So Mary and I both been attending these. These are interesting meetings because sometimes I feel like you don't get anything done, but how we fund projects and roads through this, it's amazing what OKI does and brings those federal monies in. So it's really kind of a board appointment. I am appointed from the county's perspective. I'm an executive body from the county, and then of course this body is appointing Mary as our appointee. So,
Question, Jude, if you're already on from the county, why can you be alternate as well?
yeah, I think we asked this question like 4 years ago when I did that, Jerry, and because I was attending, I can represent both within that. And
Just curious.
yeah, I mean, Kim, you've been to these meetings in the past. I mean,
They're intense. I mean, you're right. A lot of times it's just you're listening, but it's a good chance to network for our city.
right.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Dethridge,
I'll second.
Second.
second, Mr. Polgears, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries.
Next is Municipal Order 2021-06, and this is an order of the City of Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, approving the appointment of 2 members to the Ethics Board.
So there is a change here. Mr. Greg Lund, he's been appointed, and I'm asking you to reappoint him. I don't know how many years, but I think he was an original appointment of Mayor Holliker. And then the new appointment is replacing Claire Rummel. Claire was a longtime member. She moved out of the city several months ago. Spoke with Claire. She was allowed. We wound up letting her term, expire. That was legally to let her to finish out. And then we're reappointing someone different. And Shane Noem, who's been active in the community and things. I think he'd be a great addition. for the Ethics Board.
Motion to approve.
Ms. Berger,
Second it.
second, Mr. Steckel, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
All right, next is Municipal Order 2021-07, an order of the City of Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, approving the appointment of a representative and an alternate to the Municipal Government League of Northern Kentucky.
So obviously, Allison coming on, wanted to get her on a board. I'll be very forthcoming. This has not been a very active board. Chief Sherberg, you've heard otherwise that they're going to start doing, being active. Is that correct?
Yes, Amy got that update, I believe. We update our list of boards and committees and all that every year, and this was one that we were just double checking on, and we're assured by the Area Development District that it will be starting back up.
Okay.
So Allison, to be honest with you, I don't even know what they do.
Okay. Sounds great.
So I thank you for representing us, and I can't wait to hear because this has been an interesting board, and we've tried to get participation. They just never have done that. And so thanks for Amy for clarifying that they're going to get to some meetings, and I can't wait to hear back. So
Yeah. I can't wait to hear what they do.
so council okay with appointing Allison to this?
Make a motion to approve.
Knock Hazel.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Polgiers. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
All right, the last one is Municipal Order 2021-08, and that is an order of the City of Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, approving the appointment of a representative to the Telecommunications Board of Northern Kentucky.
So the big thing is on this, I've spoken in great detail with Mr. Steckel on this. He's been our representative. We go on for a year and then off for 2. I think we flip-flop between us and another city. Is that right, Mike?
It's between us, Ludlow, and I want to say it was Crestview Hills.
Crestview Hills. So the one thing that TBNK they're doing is right now they are negotiating our franchise fees and some different things as different communications, say AT&T to Sprint or anything else. They're looking at those type of negotiations. I do have a little bit of struggles with what, the TBNK, and I really think it's important that, Mr. Steckel gets back in there and we really figure out, because this is an example. Zoom, we're on Zoom, and there's other cities that have dropped this portion, and it's questionable, going forward, and really how we're spending and collecting that money. So I've really kind of challenged Mike to get in there, and we need to make a decision this fiscal year.
Sure. And Mike, I don't know if you know anything about this at all. I know one thing, we used to have Dish Network at our home. And if I went to TBNK channels, if you went on the directory, you could tell which city's council meeting you were watching. Now, if we switch to Cincinnati Bell Fiber Optics, you go on their guide, you have no idea what city it is. So, I think that's something else that, if Fort Mitchell residents have fiber optics, that's a detriment, if that's the way they want to watch council meetings. So they're not getting much benefit from that.
I agree, Greg, that's where I'm struggling.
Right.
Just where people are watching, now we are putting it on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Not that those are it, but media and stuff is changing and it's evolving, and I think we need to answer that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, okay, for Mr.
True.
Steckel,
I'll give you a full report.
Thank you. Mr. Dethridge, was that a motion?
That was absolutely a motion, Mr. Mayor Heeman.
And Mrs. Berger with a second?
Yes.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Under the mayor's report, really the big news that I found out is our staff, and I think hopefully Adam and Andrew will talk a little bit about this, but the COVID vaccine will be available for our employees, our first responders, this week. So I'm very excited with that. So I'll let one of them in their report tell you a little bit about it. Wednesday, I'm excited to tell you that we're having the next round of interviews for city administrator. If things go well and I can push someone forward or a couple people forward, I'll do some in person. I've done telephone. We'll do one on Zoom, and then I'll do an in person, see if I can narrow it down, and then get the rest of city council involved for introductions and interview process. So that's happening this Wednesday. So we will keep you updated if someone goes forward. So and we'll start sharing that then. That's all I've got for the mayor's report. Andrew, for the city administrator's report.
Yeah. So I'll start with that update on the vaccine. So we found out about just before Christmas that it was looking like first responders were next on the list, and they asked us to send our department lists in, and we've sent those in. And I want to say it was just last week that we found out that the vaccine would be delivered this week. So they're doing 3 days this week for the first responders. My understanding as of the last conference call was that for all first responders who have opted in, that they do have enough doses. That was a big question on the front end, was whether they have enough. I think that's partially to do with maybe more vaccines arriving than they expected, and also partially to do with a little bit slower uptake with some agencies. I can tell you, I think with our department, we have all but 3 on the police side have agreed to the vaccine. I will get mine on Thursday at 3:30. So I personally am excited. I think this is a big step, and I've seen the research. In fact, I just was invited to a conference call on, I think, Wednesday with Dr. Fauci. Not just me. I mean, like a lot of people on a conference call, obviously, but the research seems solid to me. The mRNA vaccines have been around for a long time. All the medical professionals are talking about the safety, and I'm comfortable with it, and happy to be taking a step to hopefully help get things back to normal. So that's a big news item from this week. More close to I guess us in general as a city. The construction on the building, the remodel will be starting within the next couple of days. So pardon our dust for a little while. And the last thing I really have is on the administration side. I did send you all an email about the old PDS building being used for some limited pre-admission COVID testing by St. Elizabeth. As you know, they're the new owners of that building, and that has started. I drove by it today. It seems to have so far a very minimal footprint. So that's all I got.
Any questions for Andrew?
Just general question. Do you know if it's the Pfizer or the Moderna?
We are getting the Moderna. It doesn't require, my understanding is it doesn't require the refrigeration levels that the Pfizer does. So it's easier for the health departments who's administering it for us, and it's easier for them to administer.
Is that one dose?
Also hearing that Moderna has less side effects as far as the first symptoms with the first shot.
Yeah, and
I don't know how true that is, but that's what I've heard. So that's a good thing.
And it is, yes, a 2-dose vaccine.
Thank you.
All right, anything else for Andrew? Joe, will you just check Facebook? Is there any questions, or Andrew, one last time?
Nothing on YouTube.
And on Facebook.
All right. Joe, do you want to give an update on, well, I'm sorry, we go to, I'm jumping ahead. Council, comments from council. Sorry. Anyone?
Nope.
All right, everybody's good. All right,
Just
Joe.
to say welcome to Allison.
Oh, thank you.
You know, Mayor, I will make one mention. I was talking to one of the EMTs, firefighters, in the gym, and they said that they had good success with the Lucas device and bringing somebody in a position that was, I guess, struggling. Actually brought them back to life and got them to the hospital. Don't know the outcome. Won't give any details of it, but that's an investment. Chief Fuller, I'm sure, can elaborate on, but it's an investment we made and it made a difference in one person. So hats off to those folks.
It's good news.
This is great news. Chief Fuller, do you want to start us off? And I don't know if you know anything about that, but
Sure. So the Lucas device, we actually purchased 2 of them. We purchased one at the beginning of the year out of our regular budget. And then when COVID hit, we realized the need that we probably needed one on each ambulance. So we purchased the second one. So we actually have purchased 2. They are super beneficial. That we purchased those to reduce our potential exposures on COVID runs or potential COVID runs instead of sending. It's so efficient. It basically does the chest compressions. Basically allows us to, instead of sending 4 or 5 people to the hospital on a cardiac arrest, to only send 3. So it's definitely had some benefit. We've used it a couple of times now. They have a very high success rate as far as the CPR is concerned. So we appreciate the city's support in allowing us to get those. I ironically have a grant that just came today from the State Fire Commission that I'm just starting to review, that they are actually allowing fire department based EMS agencies. They've set aside $500,000 to fund those Lucas devices across the state of Kentucky. So the only departments eligible are those of us that do both fire and EMS. So I will be looking at that. We may potentially try to get a third one. I don't want to sound greedy, but that would allow us to put one on the engine, which would then give us the ability to have both ambulances able to operate with advanced life support as well as the engine. So we'll study that, maybe a possibility that we may be able to get another one and have an across the board tool there. So we're working on that. Other than that, for the month, we had 120 total runs. The council report will be out. We have it. We're just haven't had time to get it out yet today. So but it will be out this week. We did look at last year's total runs, or this year's total runs. Total runs for this year was 1,711, which is actually a decrease of 123 runs from 2019. Obviously, we had the beginning of COVID where the runs just stopped. We really had a massive decrease for a few months, and that was an across the board thing that was seen throughout this region. So that would explain those numbers. We are working on the intern scholarship program. The recruitment retention coordinator has identified 12 individuals interested in the potential intern exchange for service program. We have 6 positions available, so we'll be starting interviews for that hopefully here in the very near future. The new ladder truck, we're still on track to have it in service at the end of this month. The manufacturer has our training date scheduled for January 19th, 20th, and 21st. So we're at the end of the month. We'll start getting that training out of the way from the manufacturer. We've been doing driver's training, equipment mounting, so we should be able to get that in service. The utility ATV vehicle did arrive last month, so we'll also working on getting the response procedures and everything established for those. And with all the construction projects coming up, we'll be pretty active here with those going on. And we are also taking delivery tomorrow of the new exhaust system for the fire bays to remove the diesel exhaust. That was a grant-funded project. That material is scheduled to be delivered tomorrow too. So we're going to have multiple projects kind of all going on at once. So lots of fun things going on here.
Good. Any questions for Chief Fuller? All right, thanks, Adam. Joe, sorry, I jumped you there with Mr. Deathridge's question. You got any updates?
I just wanted to report that the lights contest that we had last month seemed to went over really well. Got a lot of good positive feedback about that. So we're going to look into doing that again next year, or this year, I guess. And also the Santa on the fire truck, that went over well as well. And I think we might look into do that and make that an annual event. So we'll see how that goes. I know both Kim and Greg can attest to that.
We were elves.
They were excellent elves.
I just wanted to ride in a fire truck, and it was pretty cool, so it was worth it.
No, Joe, I tell you what, that is one thing I don't know that I've ever heard such positive feedback on a city recreation type program there. So it's a job well done.
Thank you. Looking into Perfect North Slopes, maybe getting Fort Mitchell Day or some like discounted tickets maybe for this month or February. So I'm going to look into that. Also, photos on our website probably need to be updated. In saying so, especially with Allison coming aboard. So we're going to schedule a couple days with Mr. Joe Rue to come in and get some photos of council members, departments, whoever needs them, even if you have some on there and you want them retaken. So be looking for an email about that. I'll be sending that out. And last but not least, welcome Allison. And if you hadn't had a chance yet, on our Facebook page, there was a kind of like a bio story this afternoon about Allison. So if you want to go ahead and look at that, and you can learn a little bit more about her. That's all I got there.
I did.
saw
She
it,
teaches at Greg's alma mater. I saw that.
Oh, yeah. Is that where you went, Greg? Oh, great. I didn't know that. Yeah,
So
great school.
this is how long ago I went. When I went there, it was Tri-State University. So
Oh.
now it's Trine University.
Great. It's a great school.
Joe, thanks for doing all that. Again, a lot of positive feedback, and thanks for trying to think out of the box during this crazy time. So really appreciate that. Mr. Stagman, I'll jump to you. I asked council if you received Matt's email earlier, and just to clarify something for Matt, one of the things we asked Bear Becker to do is at least study to see if 2 sidewalks could be placed on Watch Hill. Not that we would want 2 sidewalks, but there you'll see circles of the trees, and that's on the one side, which I'll call the odd numbered side. I'm sorry, the even numbered side. You have a lot more trees and a lot more infrastructure. The grading is a lot tougher, but on the other side, it is a lot easier to be able to accomplish that. So in order to move the project forward, and without getting into votes or anything tonight, what I did is directed Matt to go ahead and finish the engineering with a sidewalk to be placed on the odd side of that. Now, after the engineering is done and we get pricing back, then I'll bring it to council unless council has objection. At that point, we'll have council kind of vote a yes or a no at that, but it'll be engineered much like Sunnymead was engineered for sidewalks, and council elected at that time not to put them in. But then of doing that, does anybody have any opposition to that, in order to move things forward?
So when you say the left side, or I'm trying to look at the numbers, so the odd side is closest to the Crumpleman.
Yes, ma'am. The odd side, and so you'll see there's only really one tree, and the topography of the grading and everything else is not as severe as the even side. The homes at the beginning, there's a hill, a slope that goes down, and it pushes. So the sidewalk really it fits better on the odd side from an engineering standpoint.
Gotcha. So if you go forward with the rest of that neighborhood at some point when streets are developed, how do you, like, since there's a one on the even side of Fort Side, like I guess they're just not going to necessarily connect at certain points at that intersection?
Yeah, so Matt and I talked about it and a little bit with the engineer. What we'd bring that up to is Fort Side, allowing for it to cross on Fort Side there at the stop sign. I'm hoping maybe the safety group that you have, that your chair would really look at stop signs in that area, that would be possibly a 3-way stop. I question whether or not that should be.
Oh, like at the top of Watch Hill, having a stop sign. Gotcha.
Correct.
Okay.
And then continuing the sidewalk, so allowing the cross path, continuing the sidewalk down Fort Side, and that would be the cross. When we would come down Cherrywood or around Watch Hill Circle, or and things, Fort Side Circle, we would have to determine that. I mean, I would hope that it would stay on the outer loop, but the engineers would have to bring that to us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely a start. I mean, like, to not have sidewalks in all of our streets, you all know how I feel about that. But I mean, this is also one of the walking paths that, Allison's group Live Well put together, and it's in there, and we're inviting people to walk, and they're walking in the street. So, yeah, I'm happy to see We've made it this far.
Yeah, so the check and balance is that it's not really that much more engineering to go ahead and design it like it would be for sidewalk. And then we would bring it back once the pricing came back, we would bring it back to make sure the council indeed wants to move forward with it.
Mayor, as I look at this exhibit, I see, I'll just use one for an example. This individual has a brick driveway. So how would that be handled?
Yeah, we've crossed brick and stamped driveways before, and we have to repair them. I mean, no different than, a lot of people, especially in certain areas of the city, have irrigation. Does it clearly state that if anything's in the right of way that, we're not responsible for it? That is true, but we have been pretty good, at least, over the last 6 years of repairing and making sure that
Okay, good.
those are things the engineers look for, because those are some higher dollar amounts. But I would
Sure.
probably argue putting a retaining wall or something on the other side and
Right.
losing all the trees, I would think replacing and repairing a brick driveway is going to be less expensive.
Right. Okay.
So any other thoughts on that? Is everybody all right with that? Or
Yeah, Mayor, if I may, did everybody see the difference there between the top of the 4-foot walk with a tree lawn, or I'm sorry, a lawn? It does say tree, just a lawn, and as versus on the bottom, it's just a 5-foot walk with no separation. Was that clear to everybody?
yeah, so the grass, do we put a grass strip in or do we not put a grass strip in? I think is I like the softening of a grass strip myself, but
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that it really didn't have that much more of an effect on the grading the yards when we add that extra 3 feet of width, a total of 8 feet wide versus just 5 feet on that side. So I thought it was, for the nice to have that lawn. That was certainly what I think everybody would want. So given the time frame that we needed to get this out to bid, and we still have the option to not put sidewalk in when it comes to that time to build it, but we need to decide that be pretty sure this is what we want to go with. So if anybody feels strongly against, or feel strongly for no lawn area there between there, no grass strip, then now's the time we need to make that change. Otherwise, I think it's what we're gonna go with.
I spoke with Matt earlier today on this, and just my 2 cents is if you don't put that grass strip in, when people will park on the sidewalk, even if it's not on the parking side of the street, people will pull up and park on the sidewalk. So I highly recommend it.
Can you refresh my memory? Is the parking on that street on the even side or the odd side?
it's on the odd side.
Outside.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
I had to think about that, but yeah. It's on
No, I don't think so, because I walked down that street. I think I think it's on the even side.
I wanted to say it's on the even side too, but
I thought it was on the odd side.
Well, Jude, it's different almost on every street in this neighborhood. Like, even though like the fire hydrants on one side, the parking doesn't jibe with it. So I'm pretty sure it's on the even side, because I pass like three of the same cars when I go for a walk.
I'm just pulling up an aerial to see. It's all tree covered. I can't tell.
Yeah, because in fact, when there was
Adam, do you remember
construction going
which-
on at one of the houses, they were all lined up on the even side.
Does this show where the fire hydrants are?
Yeah, the fire hydrants are on the odd side, and I'm looking at a photo where cars are parked all on the even side.
Yeah, they are on the even
Okay.
side.
So in this instance, the preferred side to put the sidewalk is actually opposite of where the cars are parked.
Okay, so for me, that would make it favorable, just in my opinion, that would make it more favorable to do the 4-foot sidewalk and the 4-foot lawn.
Agree.
All right.
Yep. Any other thoughts on that? Matt, do you have anything else to report?
Just real briefly, Grace Avenue, we were looking at sidewalks there. We're going to hold off on sidewalks right now because we don't have any right of way there. We're just going to, and we have a deadline on our funding from SD1 for that project. So we're still studying it, but we're not going to put it with the immediate construction plans. Lakeview Force Main reconstruction that was in the news here recently, a section of that along Buttermilk Pike. The headline said along Buttermilk Pike and Dixie Highway. If anybody saw that, had any concerns about that, none of the work is being done along Dixie Highway or crossing Dixie Highway. It starts in the backyards behind number 30 Buttermilk Pike, and all of the work is actually behind the sidewalk of Buttermilk Pike. It ends right across from the post office and basically in the driveway of the Church of Latter-day Saints there. And all the work is actually technically in Lakeside Park. Other than that, the lawn landscape bid contract is going out for bid here in the next month. And we've got time to renew that. And Councilman Polgears, you asked me to look into the maintenance contract for the state roads. I did get that information back from Kenton County. Actually, it showed up in my email the last day of work before I was off for the holidays, and I haven't had a chance to evaluate that all today. But I've got that information. It looks like, and also was speaking with City of Covington. Chris Warneford, their public works director, he was with Kenton County for a while. It basically is just potholes. There really isn't anything else, and that's what they do. So it is, as a plug, it would be a good thing for us to pursue.
That sounds good. I appreciate the follow up on that, Matt.
Any other questions on anything? That's all I have.
Any questions for Matt? All right, Amy, House taxes collected, are we 100%? You're on mute. He's always on mute.
I'm sorry. I haven't checked. I've been out for a couple of weeks, so I have not checked. I did want to just say some of the spreadsheet got cut off that you guys had, but you know, as of the end of November, we're 42% into the year, and our expenses were right at 37%. So we're definitely coming under, and our expenses are about $130,000 lower than last year at the same time, mostly due to the openings in the police department, the city administrator not being filled, and then just the decrease in recreation due to COVID. And then our revenues are up about $235,000 from last year at that time. And then we did just apply for the disbursement of, was it $185,000 for the CARES Act?
Yeah.
So we should be probably getting that in a few weeks.
Any questions for Amy?
And we've also done over $1 million in road work already this year. So Matt has been busy, busy, busy.
Good. All right, Chief Sherberg.
A couple of things really quickly. We have job offers out for 2 of the 4 open positions. So we are working on hiring. I will get you a report on our December numbers. This was my first day back after some time off as well. So I'll get that report out to you this week with the fire report. I can tell you that our call volume for the year was down 18% from 2019. And I think that's probably a combination of factors. Coronavirus, we've scaled back a lot of proactive enforcement and then trying to, keep our officers safe and healthy. And then also just being short-staffed, that affects the numbers as well. So I'll get some more details to you on that. And Captain Zerhusen will put together our annual report within the next month or so and have that out with a more detailed comparison. I also just got an email from a resident in Pleasant Ridge concerned about speeding issues. And we do have, because we've been short-staffed, we've not been able to circulate our radar speed signs as much. But I do have somebody who's going to be taking charge of that program, and we'll get those back out circulating around. We have found that those help, and I do think one of the budget asks will be to purchase more of those. I'd really like to have sort of little segmented parts of the city where we rotate those signs around so that they hit some of the key streets more frequently. And then one of the topics we've talked about in the safety committee is going ahead and moving forward with a proposed ordinance to reduce speed limits on some of the smaller side streets to 20 miles an hour. I don't know that it necessarily applies to all streets, but particularly smaller dead end streets. We've done it with, I think, 2 now, and that seems to have positive results. So those are some of the things we're working on.
Anyone else have anything? Greg, I made a promise.
I appreciate it. Motion to adjourn.
Well, now that you mention it.
Second by Miss Knockhazel. All in favor?
Hi.
Anyone opposed? Good luck, Greg. Allison,
Good luck.
glad to have you.
Good. Glad to be here.
All right. Motion carries and we are adjourned.